All right. Welcome to the Wolfebarron Way Podcast. Today I have a special guest, Peter Cutile. He's a first-generation American, son of Romanian immigrants, founder of Peter Cutile Homes, the top 1% realtor in Portland, Vancouver market, and the top 3% nationwide. Peter, welcome to the podcast.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
I want to jump in. Just give us your origin story. Like, how did you start?
Where did I come from?
Yeah.
Okay. We'll start from. It all started. No. I think the best place to start would be just kind of like the adult career, like the adult life piece of it. So started walking with the Lord, and I came to like this crossroads space of I met the love of my life, and I was currently in school pursuing physical therapy school, and it's like, all right, crossroads, get married or finish school or try to do both. Didn't want to do both, so I started down this road of I'm going to pursue this woman for marriage, and that means I may not finish this school program I was a part of. So fast forward, we're about to get married, and after about like 8-9 months of just interviewing for positions that I was qualified for, it was like, sorry, no, like rejection after rejection of all these like applications. And so kept applying. And then I felt like it was maybe God's way of humbling me, but like, you know what, like you're applying for over here. And it's like, why don't you start here? Like this path of humility. And it wasn't until a month before the wedding that I applied for this other job. And I'm like, you know what, God, I'm going to trust you. I'm going to humble myself. I'm going to just apply for a basic teller position at a bank, right? Which nothing bad for like tellers out there. It's a great gig. Banks are awesome. And I applied. I thought I rocked the interview. And then they called me and they're like, hey, man, thank you so much, but this isn't for you. I'm like, great, God. So I'm like 3 weeks out from about to be married to the love of my life. I'm like frustrated because I'm like, I'm qualified, I'm well spoken, et cetera, or at least I think I am. And nothing. The next day I get a call back and they're like, hey, we unfortunately not the right fit for this teller position, but there's a banker position, which is a higher paid plus like commissions, whatever. We'd love to have you interview for that. So go there, rock the interview, praise God, land the job. And I start like 1 week before the wedding. And so like my origin starts with like this humble beginnings of, I want to get married. And literally up until a week before I was married, I was unemployed, working for my folks, And so that's kind of like the genesis of where I started. And if I'm talking too much, let me know. Is it good?
Go, man.
All right, let's send it. So from there, work at the bank under great leadership, and some of the tools that I learned there and principles of business are invaluable. The mentors I had there and the people that poured into me, just tremendous. And so I've been working, grinding, climbing the ladder, so to speak, get into management and all that. And it's great. And then another crossroads presented itself where it's like, okay, I'm kind of burning the candle at both ends. I'm working a lot. And there's this space where it's like, okay, I have a jump off point. I could pursue this new idea of real estate, or just keep climbing the corporate ladder and see how deep the rabbit hole goes. And man, after much prayer and just consulting my wife and my dad and just people who matter in life, we're like, all right, let's send it. Let's jump off. Let's get licensed in real estate. So I did that, and I started pursuing this real estate career. And for the first, I would say 7 months of being licensed, just nothing. Just didn't close a deal at all.
Okay.
Now, thank God my wife was still employed at the time, so like she was carrying us through. But I mean, you can imagine as the man of the house, right? I'm trying to pursue this vision that I had of supplying a life for my wife and future kids. It's like, okay, this kind of sucks. But I'm like, no, God is faithful. Let's just keep working. And all right, close our first deal. And then our second deal. And then that's the genesis of where we started. That's a lot of talking.
Oh, I love it. We have very similar stories, actually.
Yeah.
So then what happens? So you get the first deal. And did you just like cold turkey quit the banking stuff too?
Yeah.
Just quit.
There's a story to that I'll share on the next time we meet. I'll leave it on a cliffhanger. No. So there's a story to how we left the bank to come into the real estate space. But so we did that 7 months, nothing closed. And then we closed our first, then our second, then our third. And then it was at this jump off point where a part of our story is like we wanted to have children. And like for the better part of 2.5 years, we weren't able to conceive, which is a lot of it's a challenge that a lot of people face. And not many know how to navigate that space well, and the challenges that it brings. And so to stack that on top of like, okay, well, I quit a great job to pursue this like entrepreneurial pathway. So close a deal, close two. We're trying to get pregnant at the same time. And after we closed a couple deals, I told my wife, I said, you know what, like, quit your job. So it was a huge leap of faith because I'm like, dude, I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. I don't know if this is going to continue to just blow up and be something great, or it's just going to be steady Eddie. I have no idea. I had like, if you would have told me, 9 years ago, almost 10 years ago now, when we started this thing, that we would be where we are today, I'd be like, you're a liar. I don't believe it. I don't see the path. And yet the faith element of it is like, you know what, we're just going to go in this direction. So, wife quits the job. I continue working hard in real estate. Funny enough, 2 months after she quits the job, we conceive with our first son, which is amazing. Praise God for that. And then just little by little, just started working hard. And I was with an amazing broker who taught me everything I knew in real estate, and not just the education with that, but also redefine and provided value of what real estate should be, right? And provided a model where like I could thrive and succeed. And so it's like year 1, year 2, just head down, just work hard. Year 3, head down, just work hard. Year 4, year 5, and then it wasn't until someone like paid me a kind compliment. This other agent randomly met. They're like, hey, you're a sleeper. And I'm like, what do you mean? And they're like, you're like in like the top 100 agents. And I'm like, I'm like, okay, I'm not tracking this stuff. I'm just like, I have no frame of reference. I'm just, again, working hard and grinding to provide for my family, my children. And there was that comment that I'm like, oh, really? Okay, well, this is a nice feeling, I guess. Yeah. So there's a lot of stuff there, and pick it apart as much as you'd like. Yeah,
I love that. I was listening to it. I was on a webinar the other day with like, I don't know if you know who Pace Morby is, but he said that like 95% of realtors only sell like one home a year. So the fact that you sold 3 right away is like that already puts you in the top 5. Top 5%.
Well, there's a stat. It's 87% of real estate agents will fail and quit the career within 5 years. And last year, and I don't want to misquote it, so please, if I'm saying it wrong, my bad. But I believe the stat was something like 90% of agents, or high 80%. A lot of agents last year only closed one house all of last year.
It's usually like a family or friend or something they know, and that's it. So
yeah,
that's incredible. I mean, to do that right away is even.
It was
just
great.
Shows you're definitely dedicated, and you got to grind. And
so I mean, and again, like this is like where, depending on like your tradition of faith, like I believe God is this like amazing architect where he's like, no, I'm going to put you here in this season for a minute, just let you cook, because I got some things you got to learn before I move you to this next season. And if I put you in this next season too soon, like it's not going to make much sense, So the Lord used, I believe, the bank as like a jump off point, like to learn the tools, the resources to jump off and like be successful in this next space.
I totally agree with that too. I feel like God's like, sometimes the best answered prayers are the ones that he doesn't answer.
Yeah.
Like I want to be successful. I want to have all these deals come in, and then you realize, okay, I'm not, even if they came in, I wasn't ready for them.
No, absolutely.
And so he's like, I need to humble you. I need to have you go through this pain, and like, and then you appreciate it so much more too. But and especially having kids. I mean, I have 3 kids, and it's like, so there's like just a 6th gear that you hit. Like also like, okay, I have kids, like I got to provide for my family. Like, I'm going to find a way to be more efficient.
Yeah. So this is the thing, is like failure, it wasn't an option. So when my wife left the bank, because she worked at the bank as well. So when I left the bank and she left the bank, it's like, well, we have, we're frugal and very prudent. We're like, we're going to save up 6 months worth of living expenses. And it's like, okay, well, there's no going back. There's no plan B. It's either ride or die. Yeah. Right. And so I guess like maybe to take a step back, because I think a lot of people, especially in the real estate space, like, and look, like there's a billion people selling courses online. I'm not selling you guys a course, so just hear me on this. Like, they're like, buy my 7-step course to success. It's like, okay, it doesn't matter what you do if you're not willing to grind. And so what does that mean? Is like, I would wake up, have a coffee, and then go to work. And what does go to work mean? Okay, you have your CRM, your relationship management platform. It's like, okay, I have 300 leads, and if that's all you have in your pipeline, well, guess what you're doing for that day? You're picking up the phone and you're dialing 300 people to provide value, not to make a sale, not to make a quick buck, but be like, hey, where you're at in your space, where you're at in your journey, how can I help you? And then let's carry this forward somehow. And then it's like, okay, well, you do that until 7 whatever you spend time with your family, wife goes to bed, and you're like, well, I have a choice. I could invest 3 to 4 more hours into my business tonight, creating content or, working on my branding, whatever, fill in the blank, right? Systems and processes, whatever it is, or I can go to bed or put a movie on and veg out. And so in those early years in particular, it was staying up till 1 or 2, working on the business, collaborating with peers who were successful ahead of me that did it. Like I often use this idea of like they walk so I could run.
Yeah.
And it's this idea of like, you know what, like this guy, why reinvent the wheel if he's already done it so well,
Yeah.
So yeah.
I love that. I think that's a lot of things in like entrepreneurship people don't see is like those late nights, those hours, like, oh, they look at you now and like, oh, you're successful and you're top 1%. But yeah, they're sitting there watching Netflix for hours a day, and it's like, stack that up 3 hours a night,
Totally
15 hours a day, you're putting towards your business, and they're vegging out and minding stuff.
Well, and I'll also say this too. How do we say this politely? Like in, well, no, it's just like in the real estate space, like there's because the barrier to entry is very low. So there are a lot of agents who are like after that quick buck. And for me, like my wife, because my office is in my house, she hears me say this all the time. I tell all my clients, like, I want to sleep good at night. And what that means is I'm going to ask you, are you sure? Do you feel good about this? Does this make sense to you? Do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth? Like, is this connecting with you? And so like my goal isn't sell houses. My goal is provide value. And you do that over and over again, over 5-10 years. People see you as an advocate. They see you as a fiduciary. They see you as someone who's like on their side. And then they're like, okay, I want to work with this person. And so like the grind so much is in how do I provide value? And you know what's hard about that is, especially in the beginning when you don't have any deals closing. So you have to be able to walk into a house and tell your client like, hey, this isn't the house for you because XYZ, the plumbing is bad, the roof is falling apart, whatever. And they're like, oh my gosh, thank you. You just saved me $10,000, whatever, right? And you have to be honest about that. And the challenge of that, especially for a young agent starting out, it's like, well, I just want to make a quick buck. No, like you put honesty and value above all of that. Like treat people well and they're going to take care of you.
100%.
Yeah.
And I love that too, because you're not selling, you're providing value.
Yeah.
And then, if you only have one listing and this is it, and I got to sell this home, and it's like, okay, well,
this is it.
But I think that goes a long way. That's short-term gains or long-term success, and I think I see that in my industry too, where guys are just undercutting prices and rates, and it's like you can just feel that sales breath on everything. And it's like, okay, or do you want this to be a long-term relationship? Or if they're buying houses, you want to buy their next house, and they'll refer you out business. So that's awesome, and I love that. So now you're at the top 1%.
Yeah.
Like, what does that look like for you? It's got to be so much different than when you start. And I feel the same way even in my career. But what's the next like plans for what you're going
This is the $1 million question. Do you, in real estate, it's like, do you start a team? Do you start your own brokerage? Do you just remain a high producer? I don't know. I think I'm comfortable enough to say I have no idea. What I do know is that what we do in real estate, and I say we because I champion the model of my wife being the stay-at-home champion, CEO, just manager of life, the wise sage that she is. And so I say we, and they're like, oh, your wife is in real estate too. I'm like, no, we're together, right? So we don't know, but one thing I do know is like the real estate is the vehicle, is the thing that we do that empowers everything else in life. And so to the degree that I'm able to do everything else I want to do in life, it reverse engineer backwards. So if that means I start a team, great, start a team. If that means start a brokerage, sure. Keeping a high producer, helping people, that's great. I don't know. I think the one thing I can say for sure is I'm in a like really blessed spot where all of the clients that I've had the privilege of serving are sending referrals to me. And it's a beautiful space that they like trust me with like a friend or a family. And I'm not that weirdo like calling people like, hey, if you have a friend or a family member, like that's not my vibe. It's like, I just want to do the best I can, serve you well. And then you'll remember that experience such that you'll be like, yeah, I got a guy who'll take care of you, Yeah,
they don't remember the rate you got them. They remember the feeling you left.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
And that's, a lot of people don't do that. And if referrals were the best, I think they are probably one of the best ways to market.
Totally. Yeah.
And if everyone got referrals, I'd be out of business.
Yeah.
But it's, a lot of people don't even ask for referrals either. But,
Yeah.
The best ones are they come naturally. He took care of me. He's
Totally.
the go-to guy.
And that's the goal, right?
And that's beauty with networking, everything. So
and
that comes over long-term creating value, not just short-term.
Well, that's the thing is like you have to have like this like long, narrow focus of vision. Like you listen to any of the greats that have come before us in business, in real estate, in any space. And I heard a colleague of mine who's a CEO. He's like, Peter, I'm not building a business that's going to be 5-10 years. He's like, I'm building a business that's going to last 500 years. And I'm like, all right, dude. Like, I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, no. I'm building a machine that will transcend my lifetime, my kid's lifetime, my kid's kid's lifetime. And because we were chatting about business and all that, and he's like, so what are you doing to build this machine that will outlast you when you're long gone? And so you have this like long, narrow vision of life. It's like, where do I want to be 50 years from now with this career? And that's kind of the space you should be pursuing.
Yeah. Your future hero is you 10, 15 years in the future, right?
Totally.
Talk about building a machine, and that's something I wish I would have, like, I had a couple mentors, and they're like, oh, document all your processes. And like, oh yeah, sure. And I'm just like, okay, I want to make money, right? Like, kind of that short-term mindset. And now looking back, I'm like, man, I wish I would have just created some SOPs, because then you hire people and you're like, oh, I'm going to sit and do hands-on training with you. And then they might not be a good fit 3 months later, and you're repeating that process again. What are some of the systems that you found that like you wish you would have did in the beginning, or maybe you did them right away?
I did. And that's the thing.
I heard you say CRM, and I was like, okay, that's most people.
No, they're like, so if like, this was crazy is, at the bank, again, the systems and processes that were there were invaluable. But also they were corporate. And so it's like, you have this tiny little box, and because you're not the owner of the bank, you can't adjust or mess with any of these systems. It's like, you're stuck in this like narrow place. So when you go adjacent and you start your own company, it's like, okay, I have this template. Let me put it here and say, okay, if I own this, which I do, what can I do to improve? So, if you ask me like, hey, let's say I'm helping a client buy a home, or we're just meeting, having conversation, from the moment that I meet that person until the moment that I die. And I say it interestingly, I know at what part of the process they're in. So let's say I just met them. I have a sense of where I'm going to be with them in 3 months if they haven't bought a home. Let's say they buy a house. I'm going to follow with them and be like, just not a cheesy, like, hey, how's your house? It's like, what? No, just like, how are you guys doing? Like, so you have to have a spot for every person in your CRM, in your heart, however you want to put that, and then a response to that. And when you do that, you can provide value. Again, it's all about value proposition. So it's like, you can provide value, but you also know what to do. So it's not just like, oh, I have this person I'm supposed to help, but what do I do? Where are they at in the process? Like, there's a process for everything.
I love that. That's that took me years to figure out. And then also I was like, okay, well, through just trial and tribulations, like, okay, now I'm going to actually put this into place. But I love that, because I think a lot of people look at the sales funnel as like, okay, lead, they're interested, and then, okay, now I got to close them, and then they just refill the funnel. And I think the other part of that is like, take that funnel, flip it back over. Now it's my expansion funnel is like, how do I keep providing value for them, maintain those relationships? And it might not be 15 years before they buy their new house, or their next home, but I think it's like 7 years. Mostly people switch over anyways. But referrals, leads, just creating just more like, hey, how can I help you? Here's what your market's doing.
Totally.
I still have like even my mortgage guy, he'll still send me stuff once in a while. Like, hey, your house has created this much equity now.
Totally. Yeah.
Next email's like, well, you want to take some equity out?
So, right.
Value that they ask, right? But,
right.
No, that's awesome, man. That's super awesome. Yeah, that's something I definitely wish I would have did more in the future, or in the past. But that's one thing I teach. Even like I said, I mentor some guys. It's like, what does that customer journey look like from start to finish, and how can you make that journey just awesome? Like, well, it's going to give it a 5 out of 5 stars. That like they're just going to keep working with you.
Totally.
And then price doesn't matter at that point either.
It's
like, hey, my experience is so great that I don't want to switch to somebody else.
That's, you hit the nail on the head, man. Like, it's the client journey or the customer journey, however you want to call it. It's about the experience you provide, the value you provide. I remember I had this one client where we were chatting, and in our onboarding conversation, I'm like, everybody says, oh, buying a house is stressful. And I'm like, it's not. It's actually really not stressful. She's like, are you being facetious? I'm like, no, like, buying a house should absolutely not be stressful. Like, there are steps we can take. There's a process that we go through where nothing of what we're going to do for the next, 30 to 120 days is going to be stressful, whether it's the search, the actual buying, or the closing. I'm like, I promise you, it's not stressful. It's like, but we have to follow these steps, right? And so we and we go through the process, and like there was like road bumps, but they weren't stressful because we talked about it ahead of time, like what could come up, how it might come up, how we would resolve them, all the way through. There were like there's great communication around it. So when everything was done, keys in hand, it was great, and it was sweet because these clients left me a really great review online, and they're like, "Hey, Peter promised us a stress-free experience," and it was exactly that. Like it was stress-free, and that's the point. It's like it's how are we providing value to make things the smoothest possible for our clients. You do that well enough, and you're gonna be great. You're gonna be the guy, know.
And you're able to repeat that too, which is, I mean, that's the difference between a 4-star and a 5-star restaurant. Is like, can you repeat that same dish over again?
Yeah. Every client, every time, irrespective of the price point. That's another thing too for me is like treat everyone equally, and that's one thing that is and I know like we had some thoughts we wanted to talk about, but like I was just gonna say like. There's this, especially in business, and this is like where some business people are like, oh, that's not conducive to your time. You're not using your time wisely. But I'm like, you know what? I don't care. I remember I had this real estate person who, not like a coach, but they're like, here's how you can, 10x your business. And I'm like, get out of here with that, But anyways, they're like, I'm like, no, it wasn't Grant Cardone. No, but it was like, here's how you're going to multiply your business. You're going to only serve this price point. And I'm like, but what about that person who wants to buy like a $300,000 house? And they're like, nope, you only serve 800,000 and above. That's how you do it. And I'm like, you dumb. Like, I'm sorry, but like, this is, no, that's not my heart, My heart is every client, every time, doesn't matter the price point, I'm here to serve, at which some people might be like, well, that doesn't seem like the best use of your time, and like, how much are you really making? And I'm like, you know what? The same way the Lord humbled me, like when I started my career, I feel like we need to stay humble in all spaces. And so, for instance, I'll share this. Like this year, it was a beautiful picture where I got to serve my highest purchase price in my career, but also my lowest purchase price in my career.
Same year.
Not just same year, same time. So earlier this year, I had the privilege of helping someone buy a $4.5 million home, but at the same time, I was helping somebody buy a $110,000 manufactured home. Okay. So, and the commissions on that are vastly different, but it's like, you know what? It was fascinating because we got under contract at the same time, we closed at the same time, and like both clients had the exact same experience, and they're both great friends of mine as well now, which is awesome. So like, I share this story to say like, it's okay to serve all people at all times because God's going to take care of you. It's like you don't become successful just by grinding and helping like only a certain client base. And there might be business wizards out there who be like, no, that's wrong. You got to do only the high price point, sell expensive stuff to expensive things. It's like, no, just take care of people, right? Take care of people and things are going to work out just fine. Yeah.
And that's a testament to your processes too.
Yeah.
I had that same experience through and through because, and just my experience is like, if I have, and we're doing, marketing campaigns and everything, but if I'm taking up too much of someone's budget on the marketing campaign, I feel like they'll just nitpick everything and like they're micromanaging and they feel like they're just over your shoulders the whole time.
Yeah.
And we try to provide the same process for everything. But if you have like a higher ticket client that's spend $100,000 or something or on a campaign, and they're just like, okay, cool, this is just a drop in the bucket for what we're normally spending. Yeah, we see the results, cool, and they just go. We always try the same thing though, try to provide that same value for everybody, but some people receive it differently.
Yeah.
Is there a type of client that you just know is not a good fit, like where you can draw that boundary? And it doesn't have to be like the price point, I guess.
No. You know what? This is a great conversation to have. I learned this on my own skin a couple of times, but I'll help anybody, right? It doesn't matter your price point, background, culture, creed, beliefs. I'm indifferent to that because a person's a person, and like we're all in the Imago Dei, we're all made in the image of God to serve one another. That said, there is such a thing as a bad engagement. And one thing I learned a long time ago, and I don't teach courses, but like people will sometimes call and be like, hey, I saw you did this one deal. It looked kind of tricky. Tell me about that. Or, hey, I saw you did a lot of business in this part of town. Tell me about that. Or just, hey, how do we pursue success? Whatever, right? So one big thing that's important to my heart is never take a bad engagement. It doesn't matter the price point. But what I mean by that, you might have a client who is looking to buy and be like, hey, I want to buy 10 houses this year. They're all going to be $1 million each. You're going to be wealthy. Oh my gosh, great. Okay. But what comes with that is the stress. Like, let's say they have not just creative financing. I'm just like speaking on the cuff now, but let's say they have like unrealistic expectations. Like they're like, hey, I want to buy $1 million house for 500,000. It's like, okay, is that really a viable engagement? Like, are we grounded in reality? Probably not the right person to serve. Or someone who's like, hey, I want XYZ in the house in this location and my budget is here. I'm like, well, your budget gets you ABC in this location. And they're like, nope, I only want this. I might say, well, what you want doesn't exist. I'm happy to advise you, but like I can't commit to this search for something that doesn't exist. So it's just more of like the engagement. Or I've also had just unrealistic clients who like I had one client who they wanted me to hold an open house Friday, Saturday, Sunday for 5 hours a day. And this is a listing appointment I had with them. And they're like, so my expectation is you're going to hold an open house Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 5 hours a day. And we want this for the whole summer. And I just, at that point I had to take a step back and be like, one, I know that's not conducive to good business. But two, I know that's not what's going to sell the house. So, I mean, with all respect, like I can't commit to that. And if that means we're not the right fit for one another, that's okay. So like, I guess I would sum it up and say like, no matter how much money you think you're going to make, if the engagement, right, if your time spent on that isn't worth, then it's okay to politely decline. It's okay.
And it sounds like they don't appreciate your time either. Like,
yeah.
Am I here just for 5 hours? Am I here if I can do it in 2 and be done? Like, is that
totally? Yeah. Well, and at the end of the day, like if like you're the expert in marketing, right? Like I'm not going to come to you and say, here's how I want you to market my product. I'm not going to come to you and be like, okay, here's how much you're going to spend on, SEO, or how much you're going to drop on XYZ. I'm going to come to you and be like, hey, here's my goals. Here's what I want to do. How do we get there? You're the wizard, right? You're the one who's like the pro at this, not me. So I'm engaging you to tell me how to do this stuff. And then it's the same thing. It's like I'm a trusted expert. So like you come to me and ask me my opinion. And if I'm telling you like this is what's going to work and you're saying no, it's not, then that's okay. Like we don't have to work together. I won't be mad. It's okay.
I love that.
Yeah.
We do some sales trainings and stuff. We always call it the doctor frame. Like you don't go to the doctor and be like, hey, what type of tools are you going to use for your surgery? Like, no, can you do the job and can you get it done? And your job is to make sure this house just sells and the most amount as they can get for it. And let me do my job.
Thank you. Right. It's pretty straightforward,
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's where I feel like I've lost like some deals or stuff. It's just where like those expectations aren't aligned right away.
Yeah.
One of the biggest things we did was like we just hired a client success manager. It's like, okay, we do a deal. She's going to make sure that she walks through the whole process.
Yeah.
Part of that, like we talked about your systems, right? And just making sure that a lot of times it's just hand holding, whatever it might be, but just making sure they know every step of the way, and that communication is just through and through.
Yeah, totally. So, that's the best. Yeah.
That's awesome, man. Let me see what else I got for you here. You got so much good stuff. Like this is
stop.
I love talking to other faith-based entrepreneurs, and I guess you just faith in general. Like you're very open with it.
Yeah.
Like a lot, especially like being in the Portland market. Like people are like, oh, we shouldn't talk about faith or politics or anything like that. And that was what I was kind of taught in the beginning too. And so over the years, I'm like, man, God has just blessed me in everything.
Yeah.
Like there's been like you talk about like getting married. Like I was getting sued for like over $100,000.
Wow.
Like the day of my wedding.
Wow.
And I'm like, I don't even have $100,000 bank account right now. Like I just launched this business. Like, Like, and it didn't hold any weight or anything, but it's just one of those things where it's like God just puts it on your heart, and you're like, or puts it on you, and you're like, what is going on here, right? And you're taking a faith of getting married and everything, and so I had a mentor that just reached out, and he's like, no, you actually like reach out to that guy, and like you have to go to court over it, just talk to him. Yeah. And it's been really cool to have like mentors in business that are in faith. How do you see faith? And you've shared a lot already, but just like how you've had faith, but are you open with that with like your clients and everything too?
100%. And that's just the beautiful thing about it, man. Like I know Portland has a bad rap for maybe not being conducive to faith, but my lived experience has actually been the opposite. And so like, let me just kind of say this out loud for the record, like, are there people in Portland who don't agree with my worldview? 100%. Have I served clients who share a vastly different worldview than me? Totally. Are we still cool and tight? And like, do we respect one another? Absolutely. So all my clients know I'm like, hey, Sunday is my day of Sabbath. So maybe I'll take a call. I'll maybe write an offer, do some light paperwork, but like, I don't do showings. I don't do like outbound activity on Sunday. That's my day of rest with my family. And it's crazy because every single one of my clients who don't share the same worldview as I do have respected that. They know Wednesday nights I'm at church. They're like, hey, we know Wednesday you're at church, so can we go and see this, Wednesday morning or Tuesday? And I'm very open about it. I'm like, I love the Lord faithfully. I serve in my church community. and they know I love my wife faithfully, right? So like I'm very open about it. And the beautiful thing is it's all about like your presentation. So like, and exactly how I just shared it right now is how I would share with the client. Like, hey, I go to church on Sunday. Like they know what I do. They know who I am. They know what I'm about. And it's almost like inverse. And this is like not a blast towards Christians, but like it's often those who claim to be followers of Jesus that will call me on a Sunday and be like, hey, can we go and look at this house on a Sunday? And I'm like, did you not hear what I said, that Sunday's my Sabbath? Or they're like, hey, we want, 2 hours every time on a Sunday. And I'm like, did you not hear what I said, that Sunday's my Sabbath? Whereas those who you would think would be doing that, those that don't follow Jesus, right? They're the ones that are so respectful and like really honor my choice, of following the Lord. And it's been a beautiful expression. And also like, I think from a ministry standpoint, like it's incumbent upon us who follow the Lord to reflect the love, dignity, and honor of Christ and the light of Christ to everybody else around us. And so like, and you don't do that by being a jerk, by being disrespectful. Like you serve people well, whether you're in real estate, whether you're in a doctor, whether you're in physical therapy, whatever you're doing, like serve people well. It doesn't matter who they are, how they are. People are people, and they all have that same intrinsic value given to them by God. And that's our duty as a follower of Jesus, if that makes sense.
100%.
Yeah.
And it just, I think like even from a outside perspective, like you value your time. Like, hey, my priority isn't to just get this deal done. My priority is like, hey, there's a bigger purpose for my life.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I have a family, and like when you have those type of morals and values, I think that shows too. And it's like, okay, this guy actually cares. Like he's got a bigger something going on in life that and when you show that you respect your time, they're not the ones that are calling you at 10 o'clock at night. Hey, I just found this house. It's open.
Yeah.
I love that too, because I've been really open with that too over the years, and it's just cool how like God's actually really blessed that too.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, Sundays, I don't work on Sundays.
Yeah. Yeah.
I work around my house and stuff. To me, that's like fun work anyways.
Yeah.
Do stuff with my kids, but like, no, I'm not going to work on Sundays.
No, you honor the Lord with like being honest about who you are with all people. And like Jesus says, like if you're ashamed of me, if you deny me in front of people, I'm going to deny you too. And it's like there's this idea of like just again, you honor God by reflecting his values and his image back to the world. Like the word teaches us that we are made in his image, but also just not just as an imprint of him, but also to image him to the world. And so we have this command from God to reflect his love and value, and you do that. And this is the thing where like people say like, oh, does that mean like you're like preaching to people? I'm like, no, that means that I do my job to the best of my ability. Like the way I reflect the love of Christ to people is who maybe don't share the same worldview as I do, is I do my job with the highest level of excellence, so that when everything is said and done, they say that person follows Jesus. They serve me with the highest point of excellence. They weren't bigoted. They weren't disrespectful. They really reflected love. Like that's an amazing character. And you know what happens when enough people start doing that? I do it, you do it, another peer does it. All of a sudden, those who have this rap of following Jesus, it's like these guys are like the goats. Like these are the ones that do the best in their field, And that's what changes the perspective of the Christian experience, not what I mentioned earlier, where I have some peers who are like, yeah, I know you take Sabbath on Sundays, but let me just call you anyways. It's like, no, like
this is my line.
You're the reason we have a bad rap. You're the reason why people say that like Christians are one way. So stop it. So, anyways, I'm off my soapbox. There we go.
I love that.
Yeah,
it's I mean, there's just like any religion, there's good and bad people in everyone, and just holding to your values, man. That is that's something that it's easy to. We've had that in business too, where I've had like some deals come in and they're campaigns that just go totally against my values. Yeah, and it's just like, there's a huge dollar sign on them, and there's a reason other people don't want to do them, and they're coming to us, but we're not going to do it. Yeah. And it's always those times where it's like, man, this would be really nice right now. Yeah. And truthfully, like there's been times where I've been tempted, and early in my career, I've done some of those, and they become the worst. Like, just it's like, man, it's a hit on my morals, and it's like, no, I'm not gonna do that again. Yeah. And so I've shared those lessons with our team too. And it's like, no, this is who we are, and this is what I stand for. And as far as like giving back to the company, like do you believe like tithing?
Yeah. I think this is a conversation that my friends are going to watch this, so I'll we have this conversation often, like, is the tithe biblical? Was it done away with in the New Testament? This, that, or the other. I think that if anything, the New Testament and following the way of Jesus is more than tithing. It's having a generous and a giving spirit.
Mhm.
There's a story in scripture that Jesus talks about where there's a woman who, gave like a half penny, right? And then the Pharisee came and gave out of abundance. And God says through Jesus, that woman who gave that like half penny, it values that giving more because she gave out of all that she had, whereas the Pharisees gave out of this like abundance. And so the principle there for me and my wife and our family is like, give wholeheartedly, give with eyes closed. Don't let the left hand know what the right hand is doing. Just give. And so where some people might disagree with me, and that's okay. We can agree to disagree. Like, I don't talk about where we give or how much we give. But my recommendation advice is, have like the best way I can describe it is like, and there's an agent that came on recently to partner with me that I'm teaching, and he's growing and he's doing tremendous works. But I remember having this conversation with him. I'm like, hey, hold your hands out like this. And so I'm like, all right, he's doing this. And I said, this is life right here. And I said, all the money that is in your hand right now, it's not yours. The second your hand closes on it, it's gone. Good. I said, you live with hands open, and we are stewards of whatever degree of wealth the Lord chooses to bless us with. And I also think that God calls us in certain positions with great conviction to say, hey, there's a need. And I believe we should act on that need. Even if you don't have much, it's like, this person needs X. Cool. I got it. There it is. And then the thought might be, well, how am I going to pay for this? Do you really think that the God who blessed you with money isn't going to be able to like take care of you? So from a tithing giving standpoint, I think not just give back or give when you can. I think to the degree that you give when you start is the degree that you're going to give when you're big. And there's this like misnomer of, well, when I make it big, when I 10x that, then I'm going to give. And I'm like, no, if you can't be faithful in the little, and like even when you're making X dollars per month, if you can't dedicate a portion of that to the Lord and be like, you know what, like I'm going to give to bless, there's no way you're going to give when you're making, $1, $2, $3 million a year and be like, then I'm going to
give away $2 million or
no,
$200,000.
No,
like,
you're not. You're not.
I love the story. Yeah, the widow's mite, right? Like,
yeah.
Yeah. You use that analogy. Like I do the same thing. You actually gave me goosebumps when you said that, because I was like, man, that's usually what I always say.
Yeah.
And I was taught that from a mentor, because like as soon as you start holding on to that, and he's like, it's like a pipe, and he's like, it's the only time like in the Bible it actually says like test me.
Yeah.
And I remember like when things are tight and you're just you're cutting expenses and everything, and then you start holding on to money, and he goes, write a check until it doesn't hurt anymore. Like, and and he goes, there's your test of faith.
Yeah.
And we do that, and it's just like at some point you're like, okay, like screw it, like it's in your hands now, God.
Yeah,
like
totally.
And it's like, and you don't do it for that reason, but it does come back. It comes back tenfold every time.
Oh yeah, always. Yeah.
I was telling my brother about this, and I don't want to call him out, but they're talking about tithing. Is when he became a Christian and or pursuing his faith more, and he was doing to a Catholic church. I was like, dude, just put some money in, like just and he just had launched this business at the time, and every time his phone would ping, it'd be like someone went through one of his courses, and he literally put like $100 in, and his phone went ping ping. Oh, it worked. So it was super fun. Like it doesn't always work that way, man. But it's interesting too, because I'm in a lot of business groups, and there's a lot of like non-believers. Yeah, and almost all of them still prescribe to that too. They're like, honestly, they call it karma, whatever. Sure. And they're like, it just like something about giving to people, it comes back tenfold. And always. And I'm like, oh, for me, I know why, but and so with our business, like we do that, but I've never, same thing, just don't know what the right hand's doing. Left, don't know what the left, know what the right hand's doing. And a lot of our company didn't know about like, well, we do that. Like we put kids in college and things like that. And I don't even like speaking out loud, but and so I started doing this with them, just like, hey, if there's a organization or whatever's on your heart, like it doesn't have to be a write-off, like just let me know and we'll do it. And so I have a lot of guys that are just ladies doing our company, and they'll just hey, this person's been on my heart, this has been on my heart, this person's in need. It's super cool, like to bless people, and I try to do it as anonymously as we can, but it's just so cool. And
it is. And let me say this too, because I think there's like motivation matters. So for instance, some people like, oh man, like if you take a step back and you just look at like the world and as a whole, like one, living in America, you've won the lottery, right? You're already better off than the rest of the world, in my opinion. We live in the greatest country in the world. Two, like there's there's poverty in the States, but like I've had the privilege of going to sub-Saharan Africa. I've been to the most depraved poor parts of Africa. I've been to the most depraved poor parts of Romania, and I've seen poverty here in the States. And like, so there's poverty, like there's a lot of all around, right? And so then the dialogue starts to come where like, when's enough for you and your family? And it's like, do you need the Lambo? Do you need the like what, like when's enough for you? And like I think that's more of like a personal conviction thing, because like I also think that as followers of Jesus who are pursuing success, like it's okay to have nice things, I'm not saying go and buy a Ferrari. That's not what I'm saying, right? But like it's okay to, like, if you want to buy like a nice car, sure, buy yourself a nice car. What I'm getting more at is like around the idea of motivation. So like one of the reasons why we work so hard is because we want to be able to consistently give. And when you make your hard work about not so much like how am I going to pay my mortgage or how am I going to afford the next cool thing, but you make it more about like, I have a heart to serve and to give to this specific need, I really think the Lord honors that. In the same way, like when the Lord honors you working hard for all people, no matter what, when the fruit of that hard work is, I want to bless someone, like all of a sudden, like now you have a lot more motivation and intention behind what you do. And it's like, you want clean hands. So then if you know that the end goal of your hard work is to bless someone, like you don't want to do that with an ill motive, right? So you do it with clean hands and a clean heart and pure intentions. So like the motivation also matches the means to that, If that, I hope that tracks.
Yeah,
makes sense.
that's what it tracks.
Yeah.
No, I mean, if one hand's dirty and they're trying to
Totally.
transfer money, it's dirty money.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's not even just the money aspect, just the time too. Because I mean, I always a lot of my mindset since I had kids was like, how do I buy back my time as much as I can? And I did that, and then also it's like, well, okay, now, and then it's like, okay, well, I have spent all the time I want with the kids and my wife, and that's like, but I still feel this calling and pull on my heart, like, okay, John, you need to serve people too. Yeah. And so like that's where just like, okay, and then God's opened up some doors on that as well, and
so cool.
So it's been awesome.
I love that, dude.
And there's so many good things about it, man. I love seeing you talked about faith-based entrepreneurship and just in Portland. I feel the same way. Yeah. Like as much as the news and everything, it's whatever, the least religious state or whatever they say. I feel just the opposite. Like I just feel like everyone I interact with there's a lot of good people. We're not as polarized, especially in this area as people think.
What it is, man, is people, listen, I'm going to call out all the clickbait rage baiters. That's what it is. It's people know how the algo works, and they're going to find that one thing that's going to get clicks, likes, views, and they're going to center and focus in on that one thing, whether it's the bad or the good, and they're going to try to monetize that to get clicks, views, a platform, and they're going to say, no, I'm not doing this for the platform. I'm doing it to expose the bad or the good. And it's like, no, you're not, dude. Everybody has an agenda, and if you say you don't, you're a liar. I have an agenda. I have an agenda to make as much money as I possibly can by serving people faithfully to do what I do, right? And so to that same degree, there's a lot of these like rage baiters out there trying to like paint Portland in a negative way or in a good way. And it's like, you know what, like just let's bring the tone down a bit. Like, are there bad people? Sure. Are there good people? Sure. Get rid of all that. What's our job in life is to reflect the love and goodness of God to all people faithfully through the lane that the Lord has called you to. So if you're a school teacher, be the best school teacher you can be, right? If you are a physician, be the best physician you can be, and just let that ride. Let that ride. Yeah.
I think I read something where like your energy will match somebody within the first 7 seconds of meeting them. And I love that because like I used to be a partier and I wasn't a follower of Jesus for a long time, really up until I met my wife. And it was just for another podcast. Yeah. But it's interesting because you go back and you meet like you're from a small town, and like the people like they still view me as this like
as that other
partier and rager, and I'm like, that's not who I am anymore. Yeah. And it's so interesting now because they're like, well, you're different. Yeah. You've changed. And it's like, well, I hope so. Yeah. Right? That's life. I've had to grown, I hope so. I'm not the same person I used to be, but totally. I love it when they're like, well, what's different about you? And like, I like this version of you, but I don't know what is it. And it's like, oh, I follow Jesus now. Yeah. Yeah. So
absolutely, man. Yeah. Yeah. This is good.
I love this, man. We got to, all right. So I know we got to wrap up here soon, right? Yeah. So how can people find you? How can people connect with you?
Oh, you can call me. You can call me. My phone number's online, 360-213-6787. No, online. So I have a website, all the socials, Google, whatever. Yeah, that's the best way for people to connect with me. If they want to connect online, that's like the easiest way. Love meeting new people, serving people, and seeing where it goes. Yeah. I'm not a big, gosh, all these like business courses, call to action. If you want this, it's like, that's not my vibe. I'm more of a, if you feel like I'm a good fit for you, give me a call. I'm happy to take care of you, happy to serve all people at all times. That's more of my vibe, my pace.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
One last message. Anybody starting out in business, taking that leap of faith,
Yeah.
what would you tell them?
Whether you are a follower of Jesus or not, I would say, I'm just gonna speak candidly. Like take 3 days, get off the socials, clear the noise. Whether you're a follower of Jesus or not, like get off all the things and create space for yourself and write out what you want, how you plan to get there, and then again, like, and I'm saying this for the third time, if you believe in God or not, like just pray and take like 3 days of prayer and say, God, like, I don't know if you're real or not, or if you do believe in God, it's like, God, like, I want to take this business venture and do it, and then come before him and say, I want to pursue this business, this idea that I have. And then after that 3 days, don't wait for this magical feeling to come about, but you've done that diligence, you've prayed, and maybe in that prayer closet, like you've been revealed, like, hey, this might not be for you. Like maybe after mapping it out, maybe after clearing all the noise, you're like, this business sucks. Maybe I shouldn't do this, or maybe you're like, no, this is really good. Again, clear the noise, no friends, no family, nothing, just you. And then if it's a yes, if you get that sense that like you should be pursuing this, I mean, that's where I would say jump in 100%. There's no like, there's no net catching you, right? You're all in 100%, pedal to the metal and just send it. And what that looks like is, sleep for 4 hours a night if you need to, grind hard, like stay up late, do all the market research, reach out to those who are 1, 2, 10, 100 steps ahead of you and say, what did you do here? What did you do there? Like I sent so many messages to people when I first started, just to like, how did you become successful? Surround yourself with wisdom and then glean from that what works, what doesn't work, make it your own, and then work like there's no tomorrow. Like just work so hard, because tomorrow's not guaranteed. And it's to the degree that you pour into it that you're going to be able to pour out into others. So like you really want to work as hard as you possibly can. And then, right. I know this is like, I know it's like a closing message.
No,
right?
I love that.
But like, I would say like, and then like, there does come this point where you're like, okay, it's been 1 week. It's like, okay, you don't work out for a week and lift your shirt up and be like, do I got abs? It's like 1 month in, do I got abs? Nah, dude. 3 months in, do I got abs? No, but at least you're not fat anymore, right? It's like, okay, you go 6 months. It's like, okay, and by the way, I'm qualified to say that. I used to be very overweight when I was younger. So anyways, don't be disappointed or offended, please. Anyways, but maybe after like 9, 10 months, a year of grinding hard, you might start to see the first fruit of the results. And then you stop and you say, okay, is it worth it? And then you double down, and it's just this constant feedback of, is what I'm doing producing fruit? Is what I'm doing producing fruit over and over and over again? You work hard, improvise, adapt, overcome. You do that 1, 5, 10 years, you will be an amazing entrepreneur. Most people fail to do that very first thing I said, which is just to get silent and to see if this is for them, and then to take off. And so they dream about year 10 without wanting to do step 1. And so if anybody, you guys are in that space of like, I don't know if this is for me, should I even try? Like, yeah, the worst thing that'll happen is you're going to fail. And then people are going to be like, haha, you failed. And you're going to be like, okay, get back up and do it again with something else, over and over again and over again until you succeed. And you will succeed if you work hard. So that's kind of my closing thought.
That's gold. That's a masterclass on itself. Because I mean, a lot of people pray, but sometimes you don't just sit in silence and listen to God.
Yeah.
Do a fast for 3 days. And
I
mean, it's amazing, but just the clarity you have.
Totally.
And just block out the noise.
Yeah.
So many things I would add to that. Then just like it's perfect, man.
Awesome,
that's
dude.
awesome. Well, Peter, appreciate having you on. Pleasure to get to know you, meet you, and we got to do this again sometime.
Let's do it again, man. Thank you so much, brother.
Thank you, man.
For sure, man.
And you're awesome, man.
Thanks, dude.
Yeah, we have a lot of the same values.
Yeah,
It's just
totally, dude.
we just at the end there. So because,